counted as unemployed, get some money or whatever. If not, they're in a crazy position of already for 6, 7, 8 months not getting any salary, nothing. So isn't this sad? The only way they dare to strike is to strike to force the company to declare bankruptcy. Because, then this triggers the procedure of being counted as unemployed and so on and so on and so on. So again, here, I think, we should avoid, I wonder if you agree, both extremes. One extreme would be the Maoist extreme, which was not political extremism, but these basic ideas that today, as Mao put it, we have already capitalist and proletarian nations. Is the third world against the first world. As David Harvey, my friend, put it, and I agree deeply with him, well, I don't admire very much as a cinematographer, Michael Moore. But here he had a point, are we aware how deeply destructive of America's, United States' own communities' global capitalism is? Just go inside from Chicago and Cleveland, all those ghost towns and so on and so on. First thing. Second thing, all the problem of, which is a more complex one, intellectual workers, where do they stand, and so on and so on. So now I come to the opposite extreme, intellectual workers. I think Tony Negri's position here is false. His position is to totally put his wager on this. Postmodern capitalism, digital companies, intellectual workers, and I report of this in one of my books. I was quite shocked, I must tell you, when I saw an interview by him on TV, where in Venezia Mestre, the city on the land, north of Venice, he was walking, followed by the camera, in front of a company where workers were occupying that company, striking. It was old classical working class. The company wanted to close down production, and Negri points on them and says, look, they are nothing. They are dead, but they just don't know they are dead. In the sense of, the revolutionary force today is this new digital working class. He even went as far in some interview in Brazil. There he was a little bit afraid probably to say this in Europe. He says it there, that the true germs, elements, seeds of communism are today in the most advanced capitalism. Explicitly, he included bank financial speculations and so on and so on. All this play with futures, virtuals, and so on. And he even went so far as to say, we already have communism there. At some point, we'll just have to drop capitalist form, and we are there. This highly developed digital capitalism is our greatest ally, not whatever remains of workers. So I think that, sorry if I sound like Stalin, but I think that both these versions are wrong. The Maoist one, that is to say, this, the real proletariat, it is in third world nation, and this, for me, too arrogant, hard Negri version of seeing today's postmodern, dynamic, blah, 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 companies like the seed of future. Here, one thing to do, as I will propose in a book that I'm writing now, short political one, is, for example, I would advise every journalist who wants to be a little bit leftist to avoid this fetishization of Apple, wonderful dynamic company. I advise you that whenever you use the term Apple, not Apple as company, no, you add Foxconn, No Apple without Foxconn. Foxconn is the reality, the other gray side of this wonder of dynamic capitalism. Are we aware, not only this usual story, we know it from the media, yes, how, what is Foxconn? A Taiwanese-owned company which has gigantic factories in mainland China, a couple of millions of workers, and there they are exploiting them, not in any even deep Marxist sense, but simply squeezing energy out of them with 12 hours working day and so on, that they got serial suicides. Now, I will tell you as a joke, maybe you know it, it's wonderful. You know how the company reacted to these suicides? First, they made all the workers sign an anti-suicide pact, where they had to promise that they will not kill themselves, and, comes the ominous part, that if they see their coworker, colleague, in a depression, like, they will quickly denounce him so that the psychiatrist will come, blah, blah. The second thing that Foxconn did, it's incredible, is that, most of suicide happened in these high-rise buildings, because these are things where they put together iPads and so on, so it's not big factory hall. But so by jumping from higher floors, okay, it's not a joke, they put networks around the buildings, so that you don't die. But now comes the ultimate obscenity, I read. It's as if there is something in today's arrogant capitalism which thinks, fuck it, let's openly show the cards. The boss of Foxconn, a couple of months ago, visited in Taiwan. I was afraid when I attributed it to Shanghai. Taiwanese great zoo, and we don't have to do here any Marxist hermeneutic and read between the lines. He said this openly, that he wants to learn from the zoo how you can discipline and control hundreds of thousands of animals. He explicitly referred to Foxconn as a big zoo. And he says, well, I'm turning now to a similar company, maybe I will learn something there about how you control the animals and so on and so on. So again, this would be one step maybe, that whenever you write Apple, you add Apple dash or whatever Foxconn, That's the reality and so on and so on. Because I think that if we oppose first and third so-called world, either in the sense of just fetishizing intellectual workers or in this abstract, maybe even pseudo-Maoist sense of, we are all corrupted in the first world, only there in the third world is the true working class, then we are lost. But okay, I would like to go on with Hegel, but fuck it, let's do a Q&A if you want, whatever, Okay, read the fucking book if you want Hegel, But sorry. No, but let's do some Q&A here or what? No, let's go on. No, but seriously, as to Hegel, please remember this. Whatever you think about Hegel, there was some good instinct that Marx, when things went wrong after 48, let's go and treat Hegel's logic. Lenin, after that trauma of 1914, what did Lenin to do? Let's go to Switzerland. Okay, fuck it, he was able to do it. But let's go to Switzerland and treat Hegel's logic, and so on and so on. I think there is a necessity in this, that, as it were, when there is a critical moment and you have to rethink the theoretical foundations of your revolutionary endeavor and think further, there is a reference to Hegel. And I think we need, again, to do this. Maybe you disagree. I remain here a traditional Marxist. And another thing, please, don't be ashamed of theory. Which is, sorry if I repeat myself, but which is for me the most wonderful moment of Marx. I don't think this is the remainder of bourgeois alienated consciousness. It's a beautiful, authentic moment. That in 1870-71, for a brief moment, Marx thought Paris Commune and so on, maybe revolution is here, will explode. And then he wrote a beautiful letter to Engels, where he says briefly, my God, they want a revolution now, but I haven't yet finished Capital. Can't they wait for a couple of years? I think this is so beautifully authentic, that there is no theory without this pleasure. Yes, why not? Full pleasure when satisfaction when you are doing pure intellectual work. Don't be black. This is what I always emphasize. Remember that when we were young, we were maybe spreading this, bourgeois lives in their ivory tower out there while real people suffer. Sorry to inform you, today it's Bill Gates and humanitarian capitalists who talk like that. Like, what is the typical ideology today? Bill Gates, I heard. Listen, the left wants to engage us with this boring pseudo-debate, socialism, yes or not. But my God, children are starving in Africa. Let's get together, capitalist and NGO, charity. Let's do something. Let's not get lost in that. And I think the true meaning of this is clear. This is why charity is so central today, is do something, but what matters is the negative implication. Don't think. Just do something, don't think. You know, let me conclude with a joke. This is a nice example of this, that I really like. In Ninochka, wonderful, maybe you know the joke, I'm sorry, the wonderful Ernst Lubitsch film, there is a wonderful scene where a guy steps into a cafeteria and says, "Coffee without cream, please." And okay, you maybe know the story. The waiter comes and says, "Sorry, we have no cream, we have only milk, so I cannot get you coffee without cream. Can I get you coffee without milk?" It's a deep insight, you know, Hegelian, that negation matters. It may appear in a fascist way the same coffee, but coffee without milk is not the same as coffee without cream. And we should always remember this when we hear charity. Okay, is it charity without cream or charity without milk? No? What Bill Gates wants is charity without cream. Don't think, just do it, and so on. And are we aware to what extent this false humanitarian compassion, sorry if I now repeat all jokes, is part of our literally daily experience? The most disgusting trick, but it's a wonderful invention, of today's capitalism, Starbucks and so on, you must know the story, is that, like, you know, in standard capitalism you were a consumerist, then you felt bad, oh, I just consume, people are starving, and you did, if you wanted, engage in some human, blah, blah, blah. What Starbucks invented is a miracle, I think. Basically, they're telling you this. You maybe feel bad for being a consumerist, but look, with us, you pay a little bit more for cappuccino, and your anti-consumerism is already included in the price. You know how? You know, there you say, of each cup of our cappuccino, 1 cent goes for Guatemala children, another one for water supply there. It's a wonderful thing of how you can be a consumerist with clear conscience, you know, because the anti-consumerist price is included. You see, this, I found this extraordinary. To what extent today charity is literally, it's no longer just an eccentricity of some capitalist. It's part of the basic machine. And if you allow me my last example here, how we should proceed. From a movie, I'm sorry, I need to know the example, a movie that I basically like, half-half, but it's too naive. You know that working class drama, more than comedy, brushed off with Ewan McGregor, when he was still a working class hero before he became a Jedi and all that bullshit, no? There is a wonderful scene that, and that's my Hegelian point, if you admit me, what Hegel meant by negation of negation, how the result is not zero, no? You remember, somewhere in the middle of the film, Ewan McGregor, the worker, getting unemployed, falls in love, flirts with an office expert girl there. Okay, he accompanies her after dinner out to her apartment, and then it's a wonderful, simple scene, but so effective. She tells him, "Oh, would you like to come up to my place for a coffee?" Coffee again, I worry, you know. She doesn't say without milk or without... "Do you want to have coffee?" And he says, "Yes, I would like to, but there is only a problem. I don't drink coffee." And she answers, "Not a problem, I don't have any coffee." You know what's so nice that? Apparently it's just a zero game. She offers no. But can you imagine a more direct way of signaling, "Screw coffee, I want to get fucked"? Like, you see the point that, you know, this, like, what I like is that without any dirty words, it's an almost embarrassing invitation. Maybe this is something close to what Hegel meant by negation of negation. Thanks very much. So now... Okay. As a good Stalinist, my standard joke, I should applaud myself. No, seriously, my old joke, but did you notice this? It's one nice indication of, nonetheless, the big gap which separates Stalinism from fascism. Fascist leader speaks, the crowd